Am I the asshole for sleeping with my ex after I warned another girl away from him? My ex-boyfriend Larry and I had booked vacation plans together before we broke up. I ended up going on the vacation with my friend Molly, 22F, and her work friend Jane, 24F, after they bought their own packages. I honestly didn't expect to see my ex at the same resort at the same time, but he had also made a bunch of travel plans that he either couldn't or didn't feel like changing. During our time at the resort, we frequently split up to do our own things, and Jane told me that Larry had been hitting on her and she was actually kind of into him. I thought she was asking me for my permission at first, but it turns out she was just trying to find out more information about him. Really, while we're both friends with Molly, Jane and I had basically never interacted before this vacation, and who knows if we ever would again anyway. I warned Jane off of Larry, telling her about how he's kind of a douche and how he isn't loyal. Info. There was an ambiguous point near the end of our relationship where we were exclusive, but he insists that we were technically not. All throughout our entire relationship, I found he had a problem with disrespectfully flirting with other girls and talking to them. He's also dishonest about money, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not really here to rant about my ex. Long story short, Jane decided not to follow up with Larry. I went over to him just to give him a piece of my mind and to get some closure on some things, but that's not quite how things went. Larry can be very charming, and we got to talking, and one thing led to another over drinks, and I ended up going back to his room where we had sex. The next morning, yet another girl he had been talking to showed up at his room to talk about plans he had apparently already made with her. She didn't seem to care about my presence at all. So good for her, I guess. But I immediately felt stupid, and like it was just our old relationship all over again. I met up with Molly, and I was venting to her, and Jane came and overheard enough of our conversation to know what happened. She, playfully, called me a bitch, and sarcastically complimented me on snaking my ex out from under her, but I told her that wasn't how it was. Both her and Molly teased me for the rest of the vacation about it, and neither of them will believe that I honestly didn't have any plans on Larry, and that things just happened. They're even now putting stuff in our group chat about how ruthless I am and acting like it was an asshole move. Larry is handsome, and he puts on a front of being very well off and generous, and Jane is lamenting about how he could have been the one if I hadn't blocked her. Molly seems to think that it was a dick move, whether I did it on purpose or not, but I totally disagree. I feel like I did Jane a favor regardless, and I don't think it's fair they won't believe me. Am I the asshole for accidentally hooking up with my ex on vacation after I told another woman to avoid him?